All right. With the help of Hashem, we are learning Yerushalmi Brachas, Pei Gimel, Halacha Beis, and God willing, starting Halacha Gimel in the Ois V'Haders edition, we are learning Daf Lamed Vav. We're starting out Daf Lamed Vav, Amidal of 2 lines from the top of the Amid. We're dedicating this class to the Hatzlacha of the IDF and in merit of all of the hostages, that every one of them should be found and brought back home. Amen.
Amen.
So first of all, the Mishnah is going to begin with more cases that's going to point out regarding those who are exempt with reciting the Shema because of their involvement in the mitzvah of a burial or of a funeral. We're going to be learning how that extends itself to those involved in the eulogy, both the eulogizers and those in listening to the eulogy. We're going to see in our daf that the mitzvah of comforting Avelim on the first day is a greater mitzvah than in the later days. And finally, the Gemara is going to reconcile a contradiction that is created through the implications of various Mishnayos as to when we stand at the Shura right after the burial. So sometimes from the Mishnah or Braisa, we understand that it is the Avelim that stand and people walk by them. Other times we find the opposite, that the people are the ones that stand, that the Avelim are stationary, the people are walking by the Avelim, or the Avelim are moving and people are the ones who are stationary. And the Gemara is going to give a great reconciliation, which will lead into exactly why the minig now is the way that it is. God willing, we're going to start on Daf Lamed Vav Amud Beis Halacha Gimel, the third Mishnah of this chapter, that's going to speak about people that are b'chlal exempt from reciting the Shema. We're going to touch upon the topic that women are exempt from mitzvahs aseh shazman gerama. That's a sugi that we have in Bavli Kedushin, right? Daf Chavtes, and then Daf Lamed Gimel, Daf Lamed Dalet. And we're going to actually discover that even though, for example, the reciting of the Shema is a classic mitzvah aseh shahazman gerama. So from the general rule that women are exempt, they should be exempted from reciting of the Shema. Nevertheless, Chazal needed a explicit exemption for the Shema, because one might have thought that since Shema, aside of it being a mitzvah aseh shahazman gerama, is also the moment, the daily moment when people are mekabel oil malchus shemayim. So you would have thought that because of that, woman should be chayiv, and nevertheless, they are not, as we'll see the reason for specific, the exemption of Shema, and as we'll have time, we'll get more into that soon. So Chaver Daf Lamed Vav, Amidal of 2 lines from the top of the Amid, continues the Mishnah by saying that Kovru es Hameis, this is the final daf regarding the laws of mourning v'chulei. So Kovru es Hameis, and right after the Kavura v'chazru, people come back from the cemetery, and during that moment we have the Shura. Literally means line. I know nowadays the minig Yisrael is that those who went to the burial men will form 2 lines on opposite sides of each other. No, it's the men on the shurais will be facing each other, and the avelim walk through the line. That's the way it's done today. Now, im yecholim lahaschir v'ligmar ad shelo yagiu lashura. We're speaking about the participants who did not yet recite the Shema. The Zman Kriya Shema is going to end soon. So if they are able to begin and to complete, right, to complete the Shema prior to the moment where they will offer the words of Tanchumen, which is a mitzvah. And as we keep on learning that mitzvah pater min mitzvah means if they have to choose from the two, they have to pick the mitzvah of Nichum Avelim. Now, it's important to know that when we say lahaschil v'ligmor, so Rashi, the Charedim reminds us that in the Bavli, there are 2 interpretations what that means. What are you trying to conclude? For sure, it does not mean to conclude the entirety of all 3 parshas of the Shema. There is one opinion over there in the Bavli that says that the Mishnah means to begin and end the first pasuk only. Only. If you can begin Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, that means you finished it, then say it prior to the moment of Nichum Avelim. However, in Bavli, there's another sheet that reminds us, the Charedim, that it means to finish the first parsha. First paragraph, which means until uchsaftam, up until v'hoya im shemayim, v'lo yad b'chlal. That's either or. So if you can do that, then yaschilu, because you're beginning and you're ending it, you're ending the minimum that you need. However, v'im lav, lo yaschilu. How great is that? Because chavre, nichom avelim is included in the mitzvah of gemilos chasadim. Shlenambam is included in the mitzvah of v'haftal riyacha kamoicha. That means it's a mitzvah sasei. And based on the rule that ha'oisik b'mitzvah patur min mitzvah, you went to the burial, you are on the shura. We'll see whichever way, whoever is moving, whoever is stationary, doesn't matter. So since you are involved in the mitzvah, you wait for Shema. Shema's postponed, and you do the mitzvah of Nichum Avelim. We're talking about the people that are there. Oh, so now says the Mishnah. Oh, now we have to chop something. Now, what it's clear from our Mishnah is that the people are not the ones that walk by. In this Mishnah, is the way we do it today. People are stationary, and therefore it's shaykh that when there are so many people on the Beis HaChaim and there isn't enough room, so instead of having just 2 rows, every row is made out of many rows. So you have the ones that are in the innermost part of the row. They will be the ones that will face the Avelim. And then you can have people that are behind them. Now, it gives a cover to the Avelim. It gives a cover to the Meisk, it goes to the Chaim. But anyways, they won't face the Avelim. So that's what the Mishnah adds. Hapnimiyim taka peturim. Peturim based on the above. Peturim if they cannot say the Shema v'ligmar prior to the mourners walking by. But if you have double rows or triple rows, if there are many rows, then hachitzoinin means anyone that's not in the inner one. You think we know sadly from a burial, it's when it's packed and there isn't room, the mourners don't even see who's there. It's packed. Sometimes you can make a very long row, which is also not bachavadik for the mourners. You make a mile row if you have a few thousand people by a burial. So you make a row. So whoever's achitzoinim, then they're takachayev. Because since they can't speak to the mourners in any case, like what's the point? Okay. Says the Gemara begins by quoting a Bryce. Says the Gemara, Tani we learned in a Bryce, Ein moitzian asamei samach l'kriyas shema. When you decide when to make a burial, yes, you make a burial as soon as possible. Emes. But we just learned the Charedim, even if it means the whole parsha, the whole first parsha. Make sure, and Shema really should be said ideally by Neitzacham. So when you plan a burial, don't plan it ba'oifen that people who are going there because of the ha'isik b'mitzvah, patamena mitzvah, won't say the Shema. Don't do that. It's no big deal. Do it a little bit earlier, do it a little bit later. Yeah. Well, I'm not going to. Okay, it's very good. So a little bit later, do it a half an hour later. That's it. That's all you need to do. Elim Kain, Higdimo Sha'achas, or Yichro Sha'achas, unless begin the burial earlier. Yeah, begin the burial earlier when it's dark, and then Kadei Sheyikru the Shema, and also the Yispad. Don't forget, the Mishnah didn't even speak about Shemona Esrei because the hemshech to the Mishnahs that we are learning something to talk about. If you are exempt of Shema, you are Avada exempt from Shemona Esrei. How many times did we learn already? Right, that you can be pater from Shemona Esrei, but you're chayiv in the Shema. Okay. Frek the Gemara, if that's the case, so how do you even understand our Mishnah? In other words, if there's a halacha, don't set a time of the burial if it's going to get into the way of people Shema. So how is it even shaykh for this to happen? Like Ata Berisha Askina. We learned in our Mishnah, in other words, if you're not allowed to start it until you make sure that everyone read it already, so the whole Mishnah should be irrelevant. So answers the Gemara, Tiftoir, that's the way the Yerushalmi many times says, interpret, be mefater, that be'ilan the havai sovereign the isbayana. Yeah, you can have a group of people and you make a plan, and they thought that there will be on some oina, there'll be time. In reality, yeah, you shouldn't do it. They made the burial at the right now. When is the Sleif Sman Kriya Shema over here? Stam, it's 9:30. I don't know. They made a burial for 7 in the morning, so they figured how long can it take? 8. By 8 we'll be done. But what happened? Life happened. It wasn't done by 8, and it wasn't done by 9. And now, the Gemara is saying that's not a kasha. It's interesting, these types of questions that, I don't know if I remember Bavli such a kasha. The Yerushalmi is saying, how can it even be? If you're following the rules, how can this even be? You can follow the rules and things can get off. Didn't say that over here. The funeral, we're going to have it in what we speak about the shura. The shura. They finish the burial, which is right afterwards. Yeah, the shura is right afterwards. Now hold on. Now this, what you said, funeral is huge, and it's amazing. See, Bechal, one of the reasons why people until now, not that many people learned the Yerushalmi, is because Pashat, every word, there were so many different girsois, and it changes everything. For example, Tani we learned in a brayso, ha-hesped, just this word. So you have over here in the Shinonus Choyes, look, he brings hamafsid, makes a big difference. Hamafsid means the one giving the eulogy, right? And then v'chol ha'asukim behesped, which means whoever are involved. So that's a big machlokes. Either it means the people that are going to be giving eulogies, big difference. They will be exempt, makes more sense. Or even, that's what you're saying, or even if it means, so the Marafulda says that even the people that are coming to listen, that's what I'm going to go with one sheet. I'm saying, but everyone has another girsa, which will make a big difference. Who will be exempt right now? Because these are big exemptions. So by the shura, we explained already. It makes more sense. Whoever doesn't see the Avelim, they should say the Shema. They stand, they can say the Shema. The Avelim won't even see them. Here we're speaking about now another detail. Today, when do people make eulogies? In Chabad, we don't make eulogies. The Yerushalmis were like Chabadnikim. You'll see in a second. They didn't make eulogies prior to the burial. It makes so much sense. We already mentioned, we don't make eulogies be'ikr because by that moment, at the moment of burial, if the people will undervalue the person, they're not going to give them the proper cover. It's a kitrug on the people. If you're going to be megaza, if you're going to give an exaggeration, that person was such a nice husband. So what happens is that he's going to get burnt in hell for not being a nice husband. In other words, there's going to be kitrugim. Whatever they said, he's going to be held to that. What they did over here is that you would eulogize after the burial, which is something that we do. The whole shiva is one big eulogy. No, not as much. Doesn't count because that's it. The neshama already began to depart. Okay. Doesn't count as much. Very good. So all of this fits. That I'm saying the eulogies in the times of Chazal was after the burial. They would eulogize then. So let's go with the maraful. Let's go with the girsa that hamaspid. That's the way the girsa. Beside both the one giving the eulogy and v'chol asukin behesped v'chol ha'am, whoever's listening. So here we go. So mafsikim l'kriyas shema. They do have to stop for shema. And why is that? I'm going to go with the marafulda. Let's go with one shita. She'ena tzricha kavana. It's about kavana. No, it's about kavana. The burial happened already, so why can't you do it? Because for Shema, you only have to have real kavana for the first three psukim. But the ein mafsikin l'tfilah. But you don't stop for Shmoina Esrei. In other words, you're out there in the field. You're out there by the Beis HaChaim, and there was a burial. Go daven Shmoina Esrei. They couldn't do it. We already mentioned above that there are many dinim that we have in Chazal that are not relevant today because we never have kavana. Right? We learned it then that a chasan is spotted from Shema. It says in Shulchan Aruch that a chasan has to say the Shema because the type of kavana that it's fine. Then you're showing up. Now Maisa Hoya says the Braisa that the Hifsiku Rabbi Seinu lekriya Shema v'la tefillah. Now when the Braisa brings the Rabbi Seinu, the Braisa is saying there's a machlekes tanoi. Not everyone agrees that you don't stop for Shemona Esrei. You can be giving a eulogy. In the middle of the eulogy, you say Shemona Esrei. No, the Brisa says that you only stop for Shema. You don't stop for Shema. That means you don't interrupt, which actually means according to no. The Brisa says you don't interrupt for tefillah. And that's it. And then the Brisa brings a story that they interrupted for Shemona Esrei. That you have to daven Shemona Esrei. Machloikas Tanoim. There's a Machloikas Tanoim regarding Shemona Esrei. For Shema, for sure, you have L'kula Alma. You have to stop by the eulogy, by the shura, not by the eulogy. Hold on. Now we're making this association, this link. I know that our Mishnah spoke about the shura, but only then do you say the Shema. And if you can't begin and end, whatever the beginning and ending meanings, our Mishnah says by the shura, then you don't. And the Gemara is asking that l'choida, the same by the shura should be the same for the eulogy. Herst, same for the shura should be the same for the eulogy. Okay. And now the Gemara is going to say a big chiddush over here. Now you have to appreciate something. That what's the whole head of not saying the Shema? If you're not going to stop for the Shema, I know that we said you don't have kavanah, but have kavanah. Make an effort. It's all somehow connected to your oisik b'mitzvah, your poter b'mitzvah. You would think that nichum avelum, which is included in gemilas chasadim, which is included in the yachol reyacha kamoicha, is for the whole nichum avelum, is for the whole week. When the avelum are sitting in shiva, you b'menachem avel. The Gemara is going to tell us a big thing right now over here, that we differentiate, we're machalik between the first day and all the other days. That since the Yoy Mar, we quoted that pasuk from Mishlei, the bitter day refers to the day prior to the burial, the person is like in a different place. And then the burial is very difficult. And the first day of Shiva is called the bitter day of the person's life. It's bitter. And that's when you have the biggest mitzvah of Nichum Avil. And the Gemara is saying that our Mishnah that says, which is the Shura happens b'Yom Rishon. There's no Shura on other days. Taka b'Yom Rishon. And therefore, En Lechanami, the Gemara is saying that if a eulogy is given by Yom Rishon, the eulogizer, and according to many, even the people that are there, if Mahalta mitten the eulogy, they don't even stop for the Shema. Not because of Kavanah. That's the rule of the Mishnah. However, Umad Tana, when he spoke about eulogizing, they eulogized, like we mentioned, they eulogized not only, they eulogized, that's what we do, they eulogized at the cemetery. In the cemetery, there was a place that they gave a eulogy after the burial. But then when they came home, they eulogized, and that's what happens now. Almost every Shiva, when they speak about the Nifter. And Basheni, by the way, Vlad, doesn't only mean Basheni, it means from the second day on. Right. And there we say, and even there, that's the chiddush, that the one time of the Braisa holds, you don't even stop for Shemona Esrei. Imagine. But for Shema, you have to stop. Gewaldig.
All right, question?
Yeah.
All right, the whole Shema will take 20 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Does this make such a huge difference in this entire discussion?
So let's go back, Kevan, that the level of Kavanah that we have now is diminished. When a person who says the Shema has to really have a higher level of concentration, and let me add, Kevan, they are involved in a mitzvah. So to have the Kavanah for the Shema, they have to disconnect. They have to disconnect from the mitzvah here of Nichum Avelim. The halach is that it depends how great of the mitzvah is Nichum Avelim. It's amazing this. If it's a greater Nichum Avelim, then don't stop Nichum Avelim. Like Keva, even for the 10 seconds. The first pasuk, the Charedim, the one pasuk is 20 seconds. Nah. Okay, David Hamami is saying that maybe the first pasuk, this kavanah took them a half an hour. All right, Kenzai. Let's go right. Now we're speaking now just the flow. Everything has a flow. The flow over here is that since we're speaking about that before you begin something, like in our mission, you're on the Shura, you want to know whether you can start the Shema. Let me go with my 10 seconds. You see the Avelim down on the Shura. You have to make a cheshbon. How quick are they walking? I can only begin it if I can finish it. The Gemara now is going to speak about another din, not connected to morning, where you wonder whether you can begin a mitzvah, and the answer will depend whether you can approximate whether you'll finish it before a certain point. And that is concerning the minig of many people to come late to shul, not too late. There's a minig, dafka, to come late. And what happens when you come into shul and the Bal Tefillah is about to start Chazaras Hashatz? They're already in the middle of the, or they're in the middle of the silent Shemona Esrei, and you want to know whether you should chaparayim the silent Shemona Esrei or whether you have to wait until they finish. So what is your goal? So this Gemara is going to make your goal Again, we're speaking about that there's Nicham Avelim is a mitzvah, but we separate. There's the first day and everything else. There are two Amains in the Shemona Esrei, two Amains that are superior to all the other Amains. The Amain after Hokel HaKadosh and the Amen after Shemaya Tefillah. And being that while you are davening your silent Shemona Esrei, if the Baal Tefillah is now during the repetition, you do not answer that Amen. So you have to begin, if you can end it prior to these Amens. Let's read it. Omar Rab Shmuel bar Avduma ze shuhu nichnas lebeis hakneses umatzoin oimdim u'mispalalim, and the people are already mitten Shemona Esrei. And again, the question is, if you will start, you're not going to finish before the Baal Tefillah will begin the Chazaras Hashatz. So says Rab Shmuel bar Avduma, im yoideyahu, if you can approximate, if you know that Shuhu Maschil v'goymer at shelo yaschil shliach tzibur kedei la'anois achrav amen. Listen, add the words, be prior to you saying the significant amen, not any amen. Dafken not Magen Avram amen. We'll see. The Gemara will clarify that. Then yispalel, even though you'll miss other things. But the imlav al yispalel. And right away, the Gemara is accepting this concept. They want to clarify. The A ze amen amru. So here there is a machlokes between two ameirayim, as we'll see. The Charedim will say it's not a machlokes, but two ameirayim. One of them says ba'amen shel Hokel HaKadosh. Chad amar ba'amen shel shomeya tefillah. This is important. Now, guys, let's learn the Charedim. I know it's late, but it's not that late. See the Charedim a few lines into the Gemara. Like towards the top, it's 60 lines from the top. Amen shel Hokel HaKadosh. Says the Charedim that Horosh, the Atoisvus, over there in Babli, they bring this Yerushalmi. And the Saimu is now he's quoting from the Toisvus that Lachin Yesh Lizor La'anis Amen Hokel HaKadosh Shegal La'amis Amen B'Shmei Tefillah Koloimer Zehirus Gedoyla Ma'oid Yosim B'Shar Amen. Now, why? One second. Why isn't there another thing B'chlal not discussed, which is what about kedusha? So says the Charedim, Avol Mishum Anias Kedusha Shliach Tzibur Lo Chasha Yerushalmi, because this Yerushalmi follows what we have later quoted in the Babli by Rav Huna that holds Hayachid Omer Kedusha. Now, whatever this means, that's another whole topic. Does it mean that the Yachid says Kedusha while they're doing Chazaras Hashatz? You know what we do? Talmud Paskin said, if I'm in the middle of my own silent Shemona Esrei and the Baal Tefillah is up to the Kedusha, I stop, I listen to the words of the Baal Tefillah, and it's as if I answered. I wait until when the Baal Tefillah finishes Hokel HaKadosh and everyone says Amen. I don't say a word. I'm listening, and then I continue where I left off from. Okay. Now, what he means over here is another whole topic. The question is, when a person davens b'yechidus, which is what happened to this guy, do you say kedusha? What kedusha are we referring to? Maybe we're referring to the kedusha that we say in the Birchas Kriya Shema. We say Kaddish and Baruch b'yechidus. We say Kaddish and Baruch in Uval Tziyah. So therefore, even though he's going to miss the kedusha, doesn't matter. He's saying it anyways when he's davening the Birchas Kriya Shema and afterwards. So we don't care in the Yerushalmi here about him missing kedusha. The only thing we care about is these two amens.
So, you're
yes.
But you keep it late. So you missed the first one. You stood silent. Now you're still in the middle.
No. Very good. Okay. Let me let's say that about Tefillah is for whatever reason he's singing everything. Everything is a long mice. So if there's enough time after Hokel HaKadosh Amen, I'm going to be in my silent Shemona Esrei and I'm going to finish it before the Amen of Shemaya Tefillah. That's what it means over here. Let's see. You'll see clear. It's both. It's not either or. Amar Rav Pinchas that v'loy pligi. They're not arguing. Man the Amar b'Amen shel Hokel HaKadosh. Why doesn't he not even mention Shemaya Tefillah? Because he's speaking about the Tefillah of Shabbos. Really, Shabbos means Shabbos Yom Tov, where there's no Shemaya Tefillah. Uman the Amar Shemaya Tefillah is speaking about B'choil, but let me add something. B'choil means it's not that he only cares about Shemaya Tefillah. He also cares about Shemaya Tefillah. It's clear. Okay. In other words, like I just mentioned, I have to get those two ones. I would say that most people today, especially with the Bali Tefillah that we have, you'll have to wait until after Shemay Tefillah. He mentioned Hakel HaKodesh, Shabbos, wait until Hakel HaKodesh and start your silent Shemona Esrei. During the week, wait until Shemay Tefillah and start your Shemona Esrei. But if you can chop in the middle, do that. Hakel HaKodesh makes sense also because the first three brachas are special. They are a unit for themselves. They are the Shvach of the Oibishter. I didn't say that. Gemara doesn't make a word of what you're mentioning right now. There's another thing that David is mentioning, that the Alter Rebbe says, is that another solution is that if you, and you can't be mafsik between Goal Yisrael and Shemona Esrei, but if I punkt because I came late to shul, or not, I came on time, but I'm davening like a tzaddik, so I'm davening slow. So when I say the words Goal Yisrael, if the Baal Tefillah then begins to Shemona Esrei loud, I should say with him. When I say with him, I actually can say the words of Kedusha, because I'm like another Baal Tefillah. The Gemara is not speaking about that at all. Forget about this. No, I came late. I want to know when to start my silent Shemona Esrei. Make sure that your silent Shemona Esrei should not be said when the Baal Tefillah is saying Hakel HaKodesh and Shemay Tefillah. Bite it.
Yeah, but Rabbi, it's challenging for us because we know that if you're between Kriya Shema and Shemay Esrei, you're not allowed to say anything. You're not allowed to make that hefsek. Even for Kedusha, you only have to think the words or whatever it is. So how are we supposed to wait till the Baal Tefillah is finished, Hakel HaKodesh, then say Amen, and then continue? Isn't that a hefsek of between Shema and Gal Yisrael?
Okay, so let me answer to that a few answers then. I think the most important real answer would be that regardless what Shita was held by these Amoraim, Benegea being mafsik, Bein Haprakim, by Birchas Kriya Shema, we learned so much in the beginning of Yerushalmi that we are going to actually separate Shema, including Birchas Kriya Shema and Shemona Esrei. So Lamashal, when we had before in this Mishnah itself, that when you're standing this, Shemona Esrei don't say Shema say. So let's speak about that person. So this person already said the Shema. All they need to do is say Shemona Esrei. We learned in the first chapter so many times that they have to separate the Shema of the night and the Shemona Esrei. And even if people will repeat the Shema, not to begin Shemona Esrei stam, they should say Divrei Torah, but we're separating that. And we're losing the Geula L'Tfilah. So it's not so poshut. Okay, let's go by there. I don't want to make too many comments because you have so many chalukei deyas as when you could or could not answer Point is that there are scenarios that we learned in Yerushalmi where you're not saying Shema B'chlal. For Shachris, you said Shema. Like this guy, he said Shema. He was Yoitze Shema. He didn't say Shemona Esrei. Now he has to say Shemona Esrei, and he lost the smichos. That's what I'm saying. We see from the earlier days, even though we put them together, they weren't always together. Let's go back. Now, Rabbi says the Gemara. Tani, we learned in the Brayse, Rabbi Yuda Omer Choyekulam Shura Achas. Another thing. So again, there's just like we had the first day and the second day. If there's only one shura, so based on what we learned in the Mishnah, whoever's on the shura will be exempt from the Shema, right? Before the mourners go by. No. It's supposed to everyone has many rows, one behind the other. So then, Mishum Kavait, who they are still chayiv. Only Mishum Aval Pater. Guys, you can go plots with this. So again, the Marafulda says that Kavait means all the people other than the relatives. I'm not talking about the relatives that are mourning. I'm talking about, a person is mourning, a person loses a parent. So that person is in mourning. So his children are there. The Eniklech of the Niftar are there. That's the way the Marafulda says, that's Mishum Aval. So when the Mishnah says, or the Braisa might be elaborating, or might be another opinion, not everyone on the Shura is exempt. That's what Kevin was asking. Zog the Shema. The other people are being Menachem Aval. It depends. Who are you? Verbistu. The way the Marafulda teaches. If you're relatives to the Nifter, then you're taken there. You're also part of the mourning. I would say then it's maybe harder for you to distract to say the Shema. It's more meaningful, right? When a person has his children, when he's by his relatives, And the other people, the Marafulda says that's called covet. They're there to give covet. You're giving covet. So you won't say the words Hamakim Menachem, and now it's the end of Zman Shema. We're speaking about where that's it. If you're not going to say Shema now, you miss the mitzvah. Say the Shema. Wow.
That is irrelevant. As
Oilam.
Mamish.
That's right. That means that. So you won't say Hamakim Menachem. You'll be standing in the shura, and the guy will walk by, and he calls that shadow. That's now. There are many other ways of interpreting it. Some people interpret like, "Why are you there?" Why you have to know yourself why you're there. I would say even almost, are you there for the oval, or you're there because the guy who passed away was a chashuv guy? You want to have the covet. I went to the burial. Maybe if you're here for your own covet, gave 5. Go say Shema. Okay, I'll give you covet. Just say the Shema.
You see, all the guys that go to the Levaya of Reb Chaim Kanievsky are those guys. The Stama that's not because it's not Avel, right?
Yeah, it's more to give covet. There's different ways of learning it. Like we don't have the Charedim brings. The second shot in the Charedim is what I'm saying right now. Is that everyone, if they're taka coming to be Menachem Avel, that's called Mishum Avel. They're pater. But sometimes people go there because, like it's a big event. They're there to add to the cover to the event. They're not coming there to be Menachem Avel. Let's go weiter. Depends what your kavan is. So depends what your intent. If that will be the pshat. See, we don't have a rishonim. We're making up our depends. Doesn't matter. Still doesn't mean anything. Yeah, can do kriya, but time to say the Shema. Go say the Shema. Weiter. Says the Gemara that Yardu Lispait was like we mentioned, after the burial, they would make the first hesped out there near the Beis HaChayim. Same thing, Haroim Panim. Those who would see the mourners' faces, they takar to them. Going back to what you were saying, this is the eulogy right afterwards. So what did we learn before? That the eulogy on the first day is like the shura. Not depends. This Braisa says depends. If they'll see you and they'll see that you're saying the Shema, don't say the Shema. But she'enim roim panim. That means when the mourners will look out on the oilam and they won't see your face, you're by the eulogy on the first day, but noch out in the field. Chayav. Well, and now from here, turning to the Aflam and the Vavam and Beis, it's fair. What the Gemara is going to do now is Gavaldik, to point out, like we mentioned in the intro, how does the Shura work? From our Mishnah, the fact that you have different rows seems that the Avelim are the walkers, which is what we do now, and the Oilam is standing. We're going to quote a Mishnah from Sanhedrin, which implies that no, the Avelim stood and the Oilam was walking. So the question will be, how does it work? Okay, so let's go. Have, it comes out. Or Have means Saricham lo Havin, even though it's a Vav and a Vase. But like, let's understand. Hadad de Taninon, in our Mishnah, it says Ha'oimdim. The word is Ha'oimdim. Ha'oimdim Mishur Hapanim Pturim. We said that the Oilam is standing. The Oilam is standing. The people. Who is the walkers? The Avelim are, which is mamish the way we do it today. The Avelim walk through the Shura. But, and Oichet, Hadad de Tani, there's a price. That Ha'oimdim, we just learned. Mishum Kavit Chayav and Mishum Avu Pturim. Again, oimdim. So says the Gemara, that was Mishnah Rishonim. Mishnah Rishonim means that's the way things used to be. And then there was a story that happened, or a certain culture that took place, and the Chachamim at a certain point, in the times of the second Beis Hamikdash, B'zman HaTanoim, they changed the Seder. But before we say when it happened and why it happened, the Gemara is going to quote another Mishnah, the high, the Tanin and Tamon, that which we learned over there, that's a Mishnah in the Sechta Sanhedrin. That what? That Uchshu Menachem es Achid. Now they were speaking about a Kohen Gadol that's doing Nicham Avel. And we're speaking about a Kohen Gadol that is standing in the Shura. Now I know that a Kohen Gadol, right, cannot go to the Beis HaChaim proper. But they would go outside from the burial, outside the cemetery. There would be a field, an open place where they would make the first eulogy, and then they would stand in the Shura. So when he goes, so how does he go? So the Mishnah says that all of the people, they would be walking by the mourners, right? But the Kohen Gadol should not walk by himself. So the Mishnah over there says, the Mishnah says the Kohen Gadol walks in the middle. In other words, he's going to walk with his assistant on his right, if you remember. The other people will be to his left. So the Kohen Gadol is not walking a single row. The Kohen Gadol is in between two others. Let's say it's called the Skankoi. The point is that you see clearly that during the Shura, when people walk by the mourners the first time to give them the words of condolences, the mourners were stationary. So the Gemara says that's Mishnah Chlena, that happened later. And why did it happen later? Omar Rabbi Chanina explains that and then there was a politics, who should stand where? It was of significance. You should observe, because now that we're back to it, observe right now. People want to be in a certain place. People want to make sure that they're for their own covet. They want to make sure that the mourner sees that they're there, whatever the logic is. So he says, Misharabas Tacharus. Tacharus means competition in Tzipoidim. So in Tzipoidim, it began, which family is standing where? So people used to start fighting on the Shura. When they noticed that, the Chachamim says, Hiskin Ab Yosef ben Chalafta, and the Avelim should be oimdim. And when you do that, once you don't have any assigned place where to stand, they stop the politics. No one was fighting who should go first. That thing got never happened. So now Omar Rav Shimon did soy sefta, that I want you to know that Chazru Hadvarim Liyoshnon. Don't think that we follow the Mishnah Chlena. Danny, don't close the Gemara. We have a few more minutes. Don't think, no, now let's go. Now that we stop fighting, now that there's Avos Yisrael, now that Mashiach can come, if the whole reason why they made the Mishnah Chlena is because of the politics that would happen, who's going to stand where, we don't have that craziness anymore. No one cares that much. We're here doing a mitzvah. So now we go back to the way things used to be. And that's Taka White today. I mean, who says this? Rab Shimon. Rab Shimon said it today. We can say today, Tavshan Pei Dala today. That's the way Fruma Yid make the Shura. People that don't know this, it's just natural. People go over to the mourners in the cemetery. That's what happens by the people that don't know Yiddish minig. And the minig Yisrael is that no, the mourners should be the ones walking between the shurais of people that are oimdim, and no one is fighting who should stand. Atkan, and the taka should be Atkan about Avelus. Now let's come back. Let's go to the Halacha Gimel. Let's go to the next Mishnah. I know it's a huge sugya. And it's mamash masuk midrash, guys. We had this, huh? The end of that was Yisrael. That will end death. Good. Says the Mishnah. So the Mishnah opens up as to not who's exempt because they are oinanim or avelim, or because they're in the shura, or because they're making a hesped, because they're in the oil. No. Who's exempt from Shema? Says the Mishnah, Nashim and va'avadim. Just to remind everyone that in Chagiga, I think Daf Daled, the Gemara there speaks out the Gzeira Shava between Avadim and Nashim. So whichever mitzvahs women are exempt, automatically that is carried over to an Evet Kanani who had a bris, who went to the mikvah, l'shem avdus, and uktana. Now, when it comes to anytime you have a cut in the sputter, let's understand, no one is chayiv in anything until they're bar bas mitzvah. So therefore, we're going to read the Charedim inside, Gavaldik. When the Mishnah here has to say that a cotton is putter from Kriya Shema, we're speaking about a cotton shaloi higia lechin. In other words, you don't have to write that a cotton is putter from, I don't know, from eating kosher. Yeah, but we're mechanechim to eat kosher. Certain mitzvahs, there is a time from when we educate him to do the mitzvah. Prior to that time, that's the way we'll read the Charedim inside. The cotton will be potted from Kriya Shema and from Tefillin. Goes to everyone. Nashim, Avadim, and Ketanim, they're potted from Shema and potted. Before you turn the page, let's go inside the Charedim. We have time. Says the Charedim. Nashim, Avadim, Ketanim, Tunim, Kriya Shema. First of all, the Charedim write Shehi Mitzvah Saseh Shazman Geram. He's going to the Nashim. And V'chamilan B'Kedushin, the Nashim Tunim Midoirais. And I can speak it out if we won't have time to begin the Gemara. The Gemara is going to have a unique, a special limud that exempts women from Shema. Why is a special limud needed? Because even though, women are exempt from mitzvahs aseshas man garama, one would have had a havamina to think Shema is different. Kabbalah Samalchu Shemayim. And we learned before that those who Toirasan umonasan, and they didn't say they were exempt from all the mitzvahs, but Shema they would say, right? The Rebbe, whenever he would cover his face during the class, he would be saying to Shema. Why? Because Kabbalah Samalchu Shemayim. The chiddush is that women are not even obligated in that. Of course, they can do it. We're speaking, they're not obligated. Now, the tefillah nami mitzvah seisha azman gerama, even though not everyone holds of that, how is it a time-bound mitzvah? Either because night is not the time to put on tefillin, and Shabbos loves man tefillin in. Now, that's the issue about minors. So says the Charedim, he's quoting a Tosfos and a Rosh, because the Megia Lechinuch, Vaday Mechanchen Oisam, Kedavini Vesuka. And he's going this, now let's go to the Tefillin. That Katan Yidei Lishmar Tefillah, L'Ishlei Fichbam, of Chayvim and Tefillin. Where do we have this by Chabad? 2 months before the Bar Mitzvah. And then you have certain Yechidei Skula children. I think the Fridi Kedeva started putting on Tefillin. I don't remember, 9 or 11. I don't remember. He wrote. That was Betzina. No one knew about it. In other words, that was Chinuch. Ubekriyash maname, yesh l'chayve yoyse mistama. Mi da ashkechon hasam, that mishi yedei aladaber, aviv malam de pasek rishon shal kriya shema. So you see how important Shema is. So you would think that even if he's not the age, even there we should do it. No, that not. Prior to chinuch, you don't have to do it. Prior to the age of tefillin, we're not allowed to do it. That's different, because there, if he won't be able to control his bodily movements, it's going to be a disgrace for the tefillin. Okay. The sefer that says chayiv mitzvila is not going on the ketanim. Okay. Now, so let's go back. However, Daf Lamed Zayin, the Chayavin B'Tfila, again, according to the Charedim, it cannot be referring to Ketanim. We're speaking about Ketanim that Shaloi Gia. Of course, if they reach the age of Chinuch, we have our young minor children davening Shemona Esrei, but not prior to whatever that age is. 3 years old, they're not. The Chayavin B'Tfila, we're speaking about women. Why are they Chayavin Tfila? Says the Charedim, because the Rachmehi. Midrabanan doesn't mean that the Charedim is saying that tefillah is midrabanan. Even if we're going to go with shitas of the Rambam, tefillah is doiraisa, but the zmani tefillah is derabanan. The nusach tefillah is midrabanan. And v'tiknua af l'noshim v'lavadim, even though it's man gerama, and women are obligated noshim avodim and ketanim. Ketanim means ketanim shloi ygia lechinuch v'mezuzah. Okay, the Charedim says that this whole line doesn't go for ketanim. It's not shaykh. That the chay from mezuzah and ubebir chasam ozay. Now, what's the chiddush? Why would you think they are exempt of Birchas Hamazon? So it's Gavaldik. So we're going to start with that. So it says the Charedim, because we see that Moshe Rabbeinu educated the people, and we have that when the man fell, that we should eat twice a day. Part of etiquette is that we don't eat the way people now eat in certain countries. They eat the whole time. You eat in the morning, you eat in the afternoon. 2 meals. So being that you eat 2 meals, ba'erev, uba boiker, so you would think that benching is man gerama. No, because the mitzvah is whenever you get satisfied, bench. The fact that the healthy people learn how to control themselves and they only eat on a fixed time in the morning and afternoon, the meals is this man gerama. The benching is not. The benching is whenever you ate. So therefore, women are obligated to be continued. Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, shaloigia. No. That's why the Charedim says. That's why the Charedim says that the next part of the mission doesn't go on Ketana. That's why it wouldn't work. The Charedim says it. Only Nashim and Avodah.